So here we are on bottling day. Well, actually, I'm gonna try something new, so I think it's more kegging day. So I actually picked up that I am going to try putting the beer in. And I actually was able to get a kegerator that's up in the garage right now. I'll show that once I hook the keg up. And I'm going to show you all the first time I've actually ever put beer in a keg. And we're gonna see how this goes. So follow along. Well, I'm actually back in my kitchen. Just realized that I'm going to need to get like a small hot plate or something like that because the priming sugar needs to go into boiling water. So I've got 2 cups of water here that I'm going to bring to a boil, and then I'm going to add 5 ounces of priming sugar to it and then boil that for 5 minutes, put it in the bottling bucket, and then put the beer in, stir it up. And then I'm also trying out a clarifier. So hopefully this will come out nice and clean, or nice and clear, I guess. But I'm gonna wait for the water to boil and then I'll be back. So I'm definitely learning a lot here. I was able to get a good seal on the corny keg that I'm using. And that's my bottling bucket. That was actually the fermentation bucket that I used. And I don't have a better way. I didn't really want to expose it to this much oxygen, but I didn't have a better way to actually go through and do this transfer right now. I can't do a pressure transfer from a bucket. So I'm just filling up the can. And I was able to put the priming sugar in it. I'm not going to use the clarifier this time. I'm going to go through and probably brew this batch again once this keg is empty. And then I'm going to go through and just do one tweak at a time, kind of like a scientific experiment to find the right recipe and get the taste and the clarity and everything that I'm looking for. If you're at all interested, right, this is the top of the keg. What I'm doing to get a little bit more pressure, because the O-ring looks good, I'm just taking 2 small pieces of wire and I actually run it through where that bar goes underneath the brackets just to apply a little bit more pressure. And by doing that, I'm actually getting a much better seal. So we'll see how this goes, and hopefully it holds and adds carbonation to the beer. So that was a little more interesting, and I forgot to film any of the steps. But here's the keg full of, I think this is brew number 5. Got to come up with a name for it. And it's sitting in a sink because there's a lot of foam. And here's the little trick that I'm trying with the electrical wire. You can see the red and black copper wire in there. It just pushes down on this lever right here a little bit, and it gets a better seal. So I'm gonna go put this aside and come back in a week or so. And I am gonna try to go get a pressure gauge that's got one of these post hookups. And that way I can go through and see if it's maintaining pressure or not. So I will keep you all up to date. And I hope you all have a great day. And don't forget, be kind. Well, the kegs were an epic failure. I could not get them to seal at all when I shook them. You could see the bubbles coming up through the top on both of them. So I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out how to get that to seal better. So what did I end up doing instead? I had the 16-ounce reusable bottles, and luckily I had 3 12-packs of them, and I used those bottles instead. So luckily I had a backup plan, and those will sit for about a week, and then they should be carbonated and ready to test out. So I will add another video once we're able to taste it and go from there.